Breaking news. 2 decades ago, the global AIDS seems unstoppable. More than 2.5 million people were acquiring HIV each year, and AIDS was claiming 2 million lives a year. And AIDS data show that today, 29.8 of the 39 million with HIV globally are receiving life-saving treatment. An additional 1.6 million people receive HIV treatment in each 2020, 2021, and 2022. The path to ending AIDS is clear.
HIV is believed to be originated from a virus particular to chimpanzees in West Africa during the 1930s, called as the simian immunodeficiency virus (SIV). This virus transmitted to humans when the people that hunted the chimps come in contact with the virus containing blood, which then believed to be mutated into the human form of HIV. The first detected case of HIV was collected in 1959 from the blood sample of a man that lived in Kinshasa, or now known as the Democratic Republic of Congo. The first transmission of SIV to HIV was able to be traced by the researchers, where they created a family tree of HIV transmission using the blood sample and concluded that the earliest transmission happened around 1920s, also in Kinshasa. However, it wasn't until the early 1980s when rare type of infections like aggressive pneumonia and cancers occurred in New York and California that the world became aware of HIV and AIDS. In 1981, the disease is at first called as gay-related immune deficiency (GRID) because doctors and scientists noticed the symptoms only in healthy young gay men. But then, the same symptoms were also reported in intravenous drug users by the end of the year. In 1982, the disease was renamed to AIDS, which was first reported in Canada, and learned that the disease is sexually transmitted and caused by the human immunodeficiency virus. The disease was renamed back to HIV by the researchers in 1983, where they had identified the leading means of the HIV transmission.
HIV does not have vaccines to cure the problems. How does HIV affect your life? The symptoms of HIV vary depending on the stage of the infections. There are generally 3 stages of HIV infections: acute, clinical latency, and AIDS. At stage 1, and this stage occurs within 2 to 4 weeks after the virus enters the body. During this period, the virus multiplies rapidly and spread throughout the patient body. Common symptom of acute infection is fever, chills, and rash. At stage 2, clinical latency. During this stage, HIV continues to reproduce at very low levels and is still effective. Possible symptom during this stage is minor infections like oral yeast infections. Without treatment, this clinical latency stage usually lasts about 10 years and more decades. Stage 3, AIDS. AIDS is the final and most severe stage of HIV infections because HIV has severely damaged the immune system. The symptoms of AIDS can be very varied and depend on the specific infection or complication for body of patients.
Nurin, did you know how HIV can lead to AIDS? Oh, did you mean the pathogenicity of HIV? Yes. Okay, let's go.
First and foremost, we have to know there are a few steps in pathogenicity of HIV. The first one would be the infection of immune cell. For our dearest audience, we have a crucial cell in our immune system known as CD4+ T cell. The virus will bind to it and enter the cell. The second one would be the destruction of CD4+ T cell. When the virus enters the cell, it will integrate its genetic material and the destruction of cell will start to happen. Third would be an erosion of immune system.
Oh, and then?
Chronic immune activation. Because of the continuous replication of HIV, this will lead to immune exhaustion. Then, the most thrilling part is the progression to AIDS. The immune system is weakened, so the body will become more susceptible to any infection or cancer. Last one for me before I go. Latency and persistence. This will make it more challenging in curing the disease because the virus will stay dormant in our body.
The virus can infect humans by spread through sexual intercourse. You may become infected if you have vaginal, anal, and oral intercourse with an infected partner, but oral intercourse carry less risk. The virus can enter your body through mouth sore or small tear that can happen in the rectum or vagina during the sexual intercourse. Shooting of illicit drug or use of shared syringe that have been infected puts you at high risk of HIV and other infectious diseases such as hepatitis. Sometimes, the virus may be transmitted through blood from a donor. Hospitals and blood banks screen the blood supply for HIV. So, this risk is small in places where these precautions are taken. The risk may be higher in resource-poor countries that are not able to screen all donated blood. It also can spread from parents to babies during pregnancy, childbirth, or breastfeeding because pregnant people who have HIV can pass the virus to their babies. People who are HIV positive and get treatment for the infection during pregnancy can greatly lower the risk to their babies.
Nowadays, a lot of HIV cases not only involve heterosexual couples but also involve homosexual couples. Based on the statistic, most of the HIV cases involving lots of Muslim people. Due to that, the government have worked together with JAKIM by including the issues related to HIV in the Friday khutbah. The government decided to include these issues in the khutbah to educate the Muslims about HIV. The government also partnered up with the Ministry of Education in producing modules about HIV for the students at the school. This act could give early exposure to the students about HIV.
Have you all heard about HIV explanation from my friends just now? Let's move on to the interesting part about how to prevent HIV virus. While learning about HIV prevention, you probably heard about PrEP and PEP. What is PrEP? PrEP is known as pre-exposure prophylaxis. PrEP is highly effective for reducing the risk acquiring HIV for sex or injection drugs. PrEP can only prescribed by healthcare provider and HIV tests must be taken for beginning PrEP. Who are they for? Have a sexual partner who has HIV. Have a sex with men without using a condom. Share needles. Now, what is PEP? PEP stands for post-exposure prophylaxis. It's medications that people use if they think recently that exposed to HIV. If you think you may have been infected with the HIV virus, you can get the virus because a condom broke when we're exposed to one, or by sharing injection equipment. If taken within 72 hours, it should be taken immediately after exposure to HIV.